Alright guys, we are back. This is gonna be another exciting race we got coming up here. It's Rislyeu versus Kidofseph. They're both got really close PBs. I'm joined again with Zero Wing here. Hey Zero.
Hey Riku, good
So
evening everyone.
let's go ahead and get this started off here. Let's go ahead and get some game sound from one of these runners. And kick them off. Alright. So, here we go. Nirm is kicking us off. How about that? Nirm is being pro here for me. Thank you, Nirm.
Thanks, Nerm. Okay, so we are off here and we are going to immediately change our battle speed and message speed and put ourselves to memory. Going fast is essential, so for message speed, but we want to go slow in battle to make sure we get more turns than the enemy. We also want to make sure our two Imperial guys run away, so we're going to Bio Blast and make sure the other two get out of our way for EXP. Just to make sure our unknown character there is level 5 when we get to the mines. We're avoiding a set of 2 encounters here by going right, up, and left again. Now, for this encounter, we want to get rid of one side of the pincer and get rid of that Lobo. That Lobo has a no-run flag. Now we are about to encounter a third set of enemies here. And again, these mammoths have a no-run flag, so we have to deal with them first before we can get rid of the other two and have these two useless fighters in magic armor get out of the way so our character can get all the XP.
Yeah, we want to make sure that Terra gets most of this experience here, since she's going to be the character we're going to be using rather than this Wedge and Vix guy. We don't even see them past this point. So we don't want them to have any experience at all. And this also helps us set up for the quick kill against Welk.
Indeed. Now, if all things go well, we won't get any encounters in these caves with both runners. If that is the case, they are on Step Route and are doing River Nip later on. Neither of them get any encounters, so we are indeed doing Sea Manipulation and River Encounter. Okay, the first thing we're going to do here in Welk is talk, but the main thrust of this entire battle is to beat Welk quickly. Basically, we want to make sure we get off tech missiles and weight manipulations before he can get off any attacks and go back in his shell. Looks like both got attacks before their first turn, so this might be a little dicey, but it's doable. It just takes a lot of extra waiting. Seems that Riz has the quick kill, and so does Kidofseph.
Beautiful. Looks like we're gonna have a nice race here. Already close right off the
Very
start.
much. Indeed. Now we're gonna talk to this guy here, this frozen creature, as you could say.
Yeah, these are one of the main points in the game, these espers. And this is the first one we're going to run into, this frozen one, and the only one we're going to run into in this entire category of Kefka and Narshe.
It seems this Esper wants to talk to this girl, and doesn't want to talk to these two guys, so he's sending them off on a small vacation. So we find ourselves in some strange house, and we talk to this guy who seems to want to help us out, and he pulls out this strange item. Apparently, our character had a controlling slave crown on their head, and this has caused some amnesia. And so, the first thing we do, but with naming this character, is bring it down to the letter T. Basically, this is to make dialogue move faster, since the text scrolls across the screen, and we save frames by naming this going with one letter. Also must come very handy when it comes doing other things as well, but like signing your name, but you're here or there.
Yeah, we want to do that because of the fact that this game has scrolling text, so since we have the scrolling text, it goes by letter, so the shorter we make the names of the characters we're utilizing, the faster this run will go.
We're pretty much on this bridge, going to the mines to get away from these people. So we'll see how their step routing goes inside the mines. Now, we want to get to level 6 here, so we're gonna fight everything with fire.
Yeah, we want to hit level 6 just so the other party members that we're going to get later on, well, Locke first of all, will be a certain level when he joins, and it's going to work for the rest of the party members as well later on to get them to... We're going to want them to join at certain levels to help us out through the rest of this run.
Now, we're about to come up to a point up ahead, which is a flag. We don't want to cross that, so if we're not level 6 by then, we will stay right below it and go back and forth trying to gain the EXP to get level 6.
Yeah, we'll know when we hit level 6 because we're going to gain a magic spell called Ant Dot. I guess they couldn't fit more than 6 letters for the spells in this game, so we get Ant Dot rather than Antidote, which is what the spell actually is.
Yes, it will come in handy much later. Now, we've hit the flag, and we were about to initiate the next cutscene. And here we have the moment where the slave crown goes on Terra's head. And we have our antagonist of the game, Kefka. He seems to be using Terra as his own little weapon, and he decides to have her take out a couple soldiers, apparently. 50 of them, in fact, from what sources say. you'll start to see all these other little generals who may or may not be important to the game later on. Who can say? Now here we come to our next character. Locke. Don't be fooled by what this old man says. He's not a thief. He's a treasure hunter. A treasure hunter who likes to rescue things from bad people. Now, the old man's asking Locke to help out Terra in order to get her to who Locke works for, which is a rebel group called the Returners. Now we're about to enter into a special section of the game that utilizes a certain function, which we'll be seeing here in a moment. This function is a three-party system, which we'll be seeing later down along the road, but now we get to get a taste of it with Locke's party and possibly two more.
Yeah, I think the big point of this was just because of the fact of how many characters they actually added into this game in total that you're going to be playing as throughout the entirety of the game. This mechanic comes up quite often. And we're gonna see them just completely avoiding these encounters by stepping right past them, like no problem. We're gonna want to step past them when their legs are up because it allows you to completely avoid fighting these encounters against these wolves.
Now, for this fight, we want to have Mog fighting the Marshal, two middle ones fighting the Lobos, and Coupon fighting the Marshal. We also want to steal or acquire Mog's equipment during his second turn as well. This is for later use down the road for certain characters. Oh yeah, definitely. This is gonna be one intense race, that's for sure. So we're now walking the world map here. Since these guys are step routing, we're going to take very precise steps along the map, and some of these steps don't give us any encounters. There are free blank steps that we use in these routes. So we are entering a cutscene heavy and movement heavy section of the game in this castle called Figaro. Basically, we are going to talk to the king of this place in order to advance the story along.
Yes, we're going to want to make sure that there's lots of places in this game where you just have to talk to specific people in order to advance the story.
So, who do you think this is, Riku?
Well, I know he's Edgar, but he definitely has lots of similarities to Batman, I think.
Yes, he does. He has tools, he's got money, he's got everything.
And his parents are dead, too. Feel bad for that
There's
guy.
that. Well, yes, very bad indeed. Since we're done talking to the king, looks like we get to explore this place, so let's do that. So we come upon this woman to talk with. This woman seems to be an important person from Edgar's past, and we learn here that there's somebody else involved in this little family, a brother. Someone that we'll learn about, but not get for a good 20 minutes or so. So we have here 7 or S for this run. So we'll be meeting him, as I said, in 20 minutes. So with that done, I guess we're going to go back to explore the castle, or maybe just do some other things.
No, we don't need to go back and explore the castle anymore, because all we have to do is we have to just go back and talk to Edgar to advance the plot even more.
Ooh, Riz getting caught by the Chancellor.
Obviously,
So
Riz
here
just
we
wants to make
are.
this close race.
Oh, I'm sure. Here we are with our antagonist Kefka again. Seems to be very annoyed that he's doing a rudimentary job. Except that he's getting these soldiers doing a more demeaning job. So, in order to advance the cutscene, we have to talk to these 2 soldiers first. Then we can talk to Kefka. And basically, we're on about how Kefka's looking for a woman who stole something of minor importance and wondering if she's here. Edgar says he doesn't know, there's too many women to count. Because in the desert, and there's more women there than in the desert that has sand grains. And so, after this, Tara gets sent to a room supervised by Locke.
But for some reason, we don't follow Locke. We know our way to our room automatically.
So transitioning, we have Edgar here waking up in the bed, and it seems that something is wrong. Well, you can't go more wrong than a castle burning. A castle made of stone, no less. So, here, Kefka isn't the story trigger, so we just ignore him and talk to the soldier who is. And we, basically, from this point on, we are stuck in a small cutscene. So, in order to put out this fire, Edgar orders his castle to burrow into the ground, it seems. So, the castle's scrunching up, and it's going to dive into the desert, where we'll never see it again.
Alright, so now this castle is starting to go under, Kefka decides that he doesn't want us to escape, and he sends his 2 lackeys he brought with him, somehow have Magitek armor now to come after us with. Don't know where that came from, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to be using Lock to Steal, possibly, and we're going to be basically just using Edgar's crossbow.
Edgar's crossbow is pretty much the bread and butter of this run for the most part until later on.
Yeah, we use Edgar's crossbow basically until we hit the Returner's hideout, and then his crossbow gets put in his backpack to never be used again.
Now we also avoid a 40-second cutscene here, because we don't want to use Terra's magic in that fight, so we don't do it, and it just gets bypassed, but we can still activate it even up through Figaro Cave. After that, we're clear. Just what the current conversation is, they want to use Terra's magic to help the Returners beat the Empire, but Terra seems unsure, and the other two just seem to, it's better to bring her to talk to their mentor. So we're off to this cave. And so, through this cave, there's going to be a couple encounters. The encounters, we want to fight most of them, but there's one encounter we don't want to fight, and that's the 2 Hornet encounter. It's not worth the EXP. Now, if we're fighting this encounter, the Bleeries can't have a chance of not dying, so we queue up extra attacks just in case.
Yeah, we'll queue up some attacks with Locke and Terra, just so if the Bleeries don't die due to the crossbow, we'll be sure to kill them off right away. And as we can see, no lead is secure right now because Kidofseph just barely took the lead over Rislyeu here, so this is going to be a very back and forth match here.
And Riz with another back attack. That's unfortunate, but RNG seems to be on Kidofseph's side today. That could change.
So one thing you'll notice is that the runners are going to take some weird steps on the world map out here. We're going to be kind of zigzagging, stepping on these triggers that in certain steps won't increase our steps.
So we just saw Kidofseph and now Riz buying sprint shoes. These sprint shoes will help us go fast, but as you all saw, we turned our rows in the back row. This is to make sure they take less damage on the truck ahead. And now we take a chocobo to our next destination, and we get told that we need to ride in a certain way, but we already know this, but we get told anyways.
I love how he actually asks you, do you know how to ride chocobos? Here's how you ride them. He doesn't even give you an option to say, yeah, I know how to ride them, or no, I don't know how to ride them. He's just like, here's how you ride them, even though I just asked you if you know how to.
So very rude of him.
So, while we're climbing up the mountain here, we're going to be running away from the brawlers inside the cave. And we're mostly going to be fighting encounters outside the cave, and we're going to be taking this one little detour, which we see Kidofseph starting to take. And this is to pick up a item called the Atlas Armlet. We'll be equipping it to Edgar, and it will actually increase his damage by 25%.
Now we see the Tuskers here. The Tuskers are a pain in the butt to deal with in this 2-pack, so we're going to run away from them and go outside to do what we need to get our experience rooting. Now here we want to get our characters to 10, 9, and 8 respectively. This is to make sure our next character 7 joins us at level 11.
The reason why I want him to join at 11 is so he has all the blitz moves that we're going to need him to use throughout the rest of the run.
And Kidofseph changing equipment here now to give Locke the Mithril Blade and Edgar the Pike. We also see that he made Locke run away from one battle, so Tara and Edgar get all the XP as well. Should be noted that Locke has the longest shortest run gauge in the game, so he can run away pretty easily. And Riz also changing the equipment now as well. Should be noted that we want to keep our HP high in this area, and even if it gets low, we want to make sure that if it gets low, we heal up if we can.
Yeah, the only reason why they're getting encounters on different steps right now is because they've both taken a few extra steps in different areas, so they're going to be getting different encounters on different things.
Looks like Kid's gonna need to take an extra encounter since Locke's at level 8. And there's level 7, I think it still was? Okay, he has them at their level, so he can enter Vargas now. Ooh, that's sync.
Yeah, this is going to be an intense race, guys. We got lots of sync coming up for all these bosses, so...
So, our encounter here with the Ipus and Vargas, we need to use fire once on one of the bears, use the tools to make sure we all across both the bears, and then we row lock in the front row afterwards. This is to make sure he takes less damage, but also he deals more damage.
Yeah. Then we're going to use another Terrifier to finish off the last bear, and then we're going to basically hold A until the fight is over. Because everyone's going to be on the commands they need to be on.
Lock with a crit, nice.
Yeah, that was a really nice crit there. That might put Riz a little bit ahead. No! Kidofseph with the first cutscene start.
Yeah, sorry, Riku. Here we have Sabin, who we find out has been maybe wrongly accused of something, and Vargas is a little salty because of it, and so yeah, he wants to fight him now, and let's see what goes on. Oh, looks like Kid gets the Doomfist skip. Well, no, Riz does not. It also should be mentioned that if you're pressing down the wrong time while pressing A, you can make your blitz not work.
Yeah, because for some reason, when you flip down and you go into your blitz command, sometimes in this encounter, it will actually collect the down input right off the start. So when you try to do your pummel, which is left, right, left, it will actually completely screw it up, and you'll need to wait another turn. But with Kidofseph getting that Doomfist skip, he's actually going to be ahead by a little margin right now. Looks like right now, based on their splits, there's 9 seconds between the two runners. And honestly, that 9 seconds isn't going to be much depending on what happens with the rest of the run.
Now, once again, we're going to be step rooting our way to the Returner's hideout. And again, there are more steps that are free to take.
Yeah, so you'll notice I'm taking like this zigzag walking pattern just in a few steps here.
Riz not taking the safety save because at this point there is a chance to soft lock with a certain NPC getting in your way on the steps.
Yes, but very rare, and he's gonna be okay with where the NPC is walking right now.
Yep.
I've actually experienced a soft lock just recently, so now I always save before I get into this area.
So what is this old man talking about, Riku?
He's basically talking about how there was information about the witch that's been going around, about her killing 50 Magitech soldiers. And
don't say.
Yeah, and she's just like, I don't believe this, I didn't do that, because she doesn't remember anything right now. So Bannon is just like, okay, well, let's go ahead and rest overnight, and we'll think of a plan on what to do in the morning. So we rest, and we're going to talk with Locke here, and he's going to give us a little bit of information about what he feels we should do. And basically, we're going to talk with Locke, Sabin, and Edgar, and then we're going to go outside and talk. We're also going to grab some items from a nice little storage room in here that will help us out later on.
What we're gonna do here with Bannon is just say no 3 times. We're not even gonna wait for him to give us a yes answer up top. We're just gonna hold down and press A for no. And doing this gives us a certain relic, and also skips a minute-long cutscene. And this relic that we're gonna get is called the Genji Glove. It's a powerful broken relic, which is broken in a good way for us. And it allows us to equip 2 weapons. Now we learned the Empire has taken South Frigo and is poised to come their way, so... The Genji Glove is broken damage-wise. The Gauntlet is also broken. While the Gauntlet is supposed to deal more damage, it actually doesn't. And the Genji Glove does deal more damage in the long run. Now at this point, once we get back in control, we're going to be saving, and due to the step routing and seam manipulation, we're going to be resetting here. Well, but before then, we're going to re-equip our guys with the necessary equipment, and then we'll go from there. This seam manipulation allows us to get only 2 encounters on the river that we're going to be coming up to. It also helps us a little bit with getting other characters down the road an extra level or 2 maybe with the level average.
They both reset it to have the river manipulation the way it is. You'll watch as after they fight off this Pterodon battle, they're not going to have a single encounter the rest of the way down the river. So we're going to see Riz is going to save right before this because he wants to make sure that if the Ultros fight does go bad, which it can very easily, he can just revert back to his previous save and head back down and only have to worry about a little section of the river rather than the entire river again. He also moved Edgar to the front row. The reason why I want Edgar in the front row is because he's got the Genji Glove equipped at this point, so he's going to be able to attack twice during this fight with each of his fight commands.
Now with this fight, besides just using Edgar's attacking, you want to use Aura Bolt, which will do extra damage, and Terra's Fire. We also may be using Bannon to attack in the front row, and there's a possibility that we could manipulate Ultras to skip over a box of text that he has. Delicious morsel, let me get my bib. Unfortunately, Riz did not get it. If he did skip it, he would have prevented that entire attack on Terra.
Well, one thing with Terra being low health right now, though, is that we could see a Riot Blade go off. Because every character in this game has a Desperation move.
The chances of a Desperation attack going off is 1 in 16, I do believe, and you have to wait 30 seconds into the battle before it actually activates.
Yeah. But if you do get Riot Blade from Terra, it can actually make this fight quite a bit faster.
And Kidofseph has Terra down, but looks like he's just about done. And Kidofseph is done with his Ultras. And so we now split up at this point, and we're about to do a three-pronged party scenario. And we're going to start with Sabin's grouping first.
Yeah, we're going to start with Sabin because he's got some important items we can pick up right at the end of his scenario, which we'll get to when we get closer to that. We're also going to get our next party member that we're going to see for the majority of this scenario. Probably about half the scenario. Shadow. So Shadow has some cool concepts to him. He has a thorough command, which we are going to use at one point in this during the Imperial camp that we go into. And he also has his dog, Interceptor, who can block attacks for him, as well as attack back with a move called Wild Fang.
Wild Fang does, I believe, 4 times the damage a normal attack would do.
I'm not sure the exact amount that it does in comparison. I'll look it up quickly here, but yeah, it does a lot of damage.
We're just gonna run away from all these fights from now on. If we get into a fight with Shadow out here and we actually partake in it, he will leave us at some point. Now we're in the Imperial camp here, and we're about to enter a lot of cutscene heavy stuff. Basically cutscene, movement, cutscene, and etc, etc. Oh, and here's Kefka. Wonder how he got here so quickly. But regardless, he's telling these guys not to do Fire and Eyes and whatnot. So they're probably not gonna go back on duty here soon. Oop, looks like they're being called to attack the castle, so that's what they're gonna do.
We have to remember, we did spend a couple nights. We did spend a night at the Returner's hideout. He would have had time to get back down to here with all that, especially because he has all the technology that the Imperials have right now at his disposal.
So very true on that.
So we're gonna get to meet our next party member as well here. We'll get to our party member Cyan, who helps break a boss later on in this run. It's glorious. But we're going to equip him with an item here, along with changing our battle speed up to 1, because we want the battle speed to be as fast as possible for this point. As we noted at the start of this, the battle speed actually only affects the enemy's attack speed, so with us turning it up to 1, the enemy is going to attack faster. And since Retort does so much damage in this fight, we're going to use that in order to kill this guard instantly. And we're going to equip the sprint shoes to make him be able to run a little bit faster around the castle.
Ooh, excellent ATB. that was a pretty clean, fast fight. And Kidofseph just entering into his routine here for Cyan. Now we're back with our group in the Imperial camp, and here's General Leo. Probably the first time and last time in this run we'll ever see him. And so we move, but we got more cutscenes along the way. So here's Kefka plotting something. What he's plotting is, well, you'll see in a few minutes here. It's nothing good, I can tell you that.
So you notice right now, we haven't changed the battle speed back to the 6 that it was at to give us extra turns during boss fights and during the encounters we run into. The reason why we don't change it quite yet is because Kefka right now is actually classified as part of our party. So there's 2 encounters that we have with him before we have to actually change it to the slow speed again. And once we do that, we're also going to take a few items off of Shadow here. So we're going to want his ninja gear in order to give it to Sabin.
We also put on the Mythal Shield on 7 that we have as well, so it could increase his defense even further. Now this fight, we just want to fight the first 2 the guys in the front row. We don't care about taking out the guys in the back row quite yet. But once we deal with these guys, we want to pull all the stops. So, ooh, he gets a takedown. Riz does, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really awesome when you see that takedown. It's a very rare chance you see it. But we'll save him a little bit of time here.
Let's see if Kid can get the same kind of luck. Now, what's this Kefka's pouring in the river, Rigu?
Well, from what I understand, he decided he wanted to make Kool-Aid, but he grabbed the wrong pouch, and supposedly it's poison they made instead.
Poison? No, no. Someone should definitely call somebody to clean it up.
Well, I think it's a little bit too late for that. It looks like this castle has been...
Ooh, did I just see a interceptor on Kidofseph's side too? I think I did. Wow, that was lucky. So, yeah, all these people are dropping like flies. One falls off the castle itself. And it seems that everyone's not having a good day. So, yeah, they're definitely going to need a lawyer for... The kingdom's going to need a lawyer for this.
I don't know about that king anymore.
Yeah, he's probably not feeling well himself. And it seems the king is down, and unfortunately cannot do anything anymore for the kingdom, except search for more survivors.
Yeah, the king even tells us, run to your family, make sure they're okay here. And this sentry buddy here is just like, we should search the castle. We'll go in opposite directions and search.
And so we find his family not looking well either, unfortunately. And so Cyan is just going to get all angry and demand satisfaction from the enemy. So here we are in the first battle of Cyan's Rage Gauntlet. You want to talk to Cyan from the back or the side in order to initiate. Do not talk to him from the front, or you will get knocked out to the side and take damage.
It's kind of funny because when you actually stand in front of him, he's just like... He thinks you're one of the enemies, and that's why he punches you off to the side.
We're just getting very lucky not getting a dispatch, so it's going very well so far. And Kid entering his gauntlet as well. He was getting a dispatch, so that's going to eat a little bit of time. Now for the third battle. As you can see, there is a cadet instead of a third normal grunt. And Kid getting a dispatch as well. Unlucky.
One thing to know is that Riz had the chance to throw the air lancet here because he was able to save it due to the takedown with Interceptor.
Now we are entering a part of the game with a special a special status effect. Basically, Magic Armor is considered a status effect, and it allowed us to see Kefka to be in the game in that armor. Basically, from this point on, we got 3 battles, and yeah, things can go pretty well for us at this point. Hopefully, they'll be able to get through it without any problems. Kid is through his 3rd fight, so he's into the Magitech armor as well. You can also start rearranging your items at this point for easier management. And Riz giving us the 3 beams elements trifecta. Kid entering his Magitech armor gauntlet as well.
We still have a very close race here.
Oh, yeah, this is a great race tonight.
There's still one big point of RNG coming up after we're done the Phantom Train, and a little bit more here.
Oh yeah, that RNG can be a run killer sometimes. Now we're entering the Phantom Forest. This place can be not very nice depending on how things go.
One thing to know is these runners, since they are on step route, they should only run into ghosts throughout the Phantom Forest until they get to the train.
Ooh, and Riz gets a pincer.
This pincer is actually really unlucky because depending on which side you have to kill off here, which he used his Aura Bolt, so that's going to make it so that he didn't get to choose which one of them got attacked, so... Riz makes out that encounter pretty unscathed and makes it all the way to the Phantom Train here.
It should be noted that Cyan has a very, very long run gauge. Compared to Locke, Cyan is the slowest character to run away, sans somebody else. Now, Kids has now entered the Phantom Train area, and we are getting on our way. Basically, from this point on, we just have to go from point A to point B and get to the front. And we don't want to avoid these ghosts. We want to stay on step route. And we want, at the end of the next car, when we get there, there will be a bit of step burning in order to take into account inside the car instead of outside. This step burning is to avoid a nasty enemy outside the train called a bomb. Their blaze attack is just terrible. If executed on the entire party, it will do roughly 150 damage to each person.
So one thing to note is that after we enter this train car with Riz here, this is going to be the last, well, second last train car we ever enter in this train.
Now, it seems that they're trying to escape these guys, and the best way to do it is, well, Sabin decides to put the train to good use and just run across the train. But it seems he sort of fails and falls through the canopy of the second car he lands on. And so we press this really weird switch, and we decouple the cars behind us. What happens to those souls trying to depart for the world of the dead, we don't know. But this switch seems to have a secondary function, and it allows us to just keep on going forward. Riz healing up. Probably good call there.
Yeah, it's always a safe idea to heal up whenever you feel like there might be something dangerous, especially because on the outside of this train car, when you're step routing, you're only going to run into ghosts. And these ghosts can be very scary with their blaze ability.
Which we see on Riz's side now. Which he keeps him very, very easily. Now, Riz just picked up the earrings. The earrings are useful for Sabin later on down the road because they are magic type items, and his blitzes use magic and physical damage properties. So they enhance his blitz's abilities, and we can just deal extra damage. Okay, so here we are at the end of the Phantom Train, and we're about to get into this really nifty fight with this monster from another dimension or world, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, this trait is just what allows people who are pass to get over to the other side.
And Riz did not go for the suplex, but Kid does.
Well, I can understand Riz not going for it, but since two of his characters are actually confused right now.
Yeah, that's very understandable. He was put in a very sticky situation, so it's understandable. Now, since we're getting off this train, we're about to witness a sad scene for Cyan, but that's not the point of this little interlude we have. No, the point of this interlude is to do something else.
Yeah, so Cyan realizes that his family is going over to the other side right now, and he is going to be sad about it for a little while, watching the train go off into the distance. And because of that, we're going to get a chance to equip our awesome Sabin with a few little things to help him out for the next part of the game.
Also, it allows us to do some minor inventory management as well. And set up for the stuff that's going to be coming after the next battle that we're going to get into.
But you have a certain amount of time that you can send the menu there for, and once you're through that, you have to... It will fade to black, and you'll be on the world map.
Now, Riz just unequipped Cyan because he's about to attempt a a secondary version of the Psycho Cyan glitch here in this upcoming fight. Now, it should be noted that you get all healed up before you jump into this waterfall, and if you're dead, you get revived. All that stuff. Now, we want to kill Cyan, but first we really should kill one Piranha.
Well, we want first of all get some attacks off on Cyan, because you want to have the higher chance of the enemies actually hitting Cyan here, so... So one thing to note with Riz's situation, with Cyan's HP being at critical, you can't attack Cyan with Cyan himself, or Sabin will still go and guard the attack.
Now we're about to set up the Psycho Cyan glitch, which is basically we decide to have him use retort, but instead of getting attacked, Sabin tries to suplex the fish. And because he can't do that, the game spazzes out and does retort anyways, and the battle just ends.
So now that this battle is over, we're going to see the big point where one of these runners could completely take off, or possibly keep this at around the same point here.
Yes, we're about to meet our 5/8 chance character right now. Character will be named G, and basically we're on a part of the game where we are in his weird little area to collect monster rages, but that's not important. What's important is, how do we get this character?
So basically, we're gonna have to. First of all, we want to make sure Cyan is healed up here because we don't have any other Phoenix down, so we don't want any of our party members dying. And then we're gonna be walking through the Veldt, trying to get to Mobilis to buy ourselves a thing of dried meat, and we're gonna be using that on Gao when we run into him.
Gao's a chance to show up in the battle, which is not a pincer, not a side attack, and not I don't think a preemptive either. But you also cannot show up if one of your party has a side effect upon him.
I believe he can, but it's very scary if you have a Berserk party member due to the Grasshoppers, because the Berserk party member might instantly attack and ruin your day.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. Now, things can go wrong with this you could throw the meat at the wrong person, you could hit Gao when you need him most, etc, etc.
So also, one thing to note with Gao is it's a 5 in 8 chance that he shows up on the fights. And with Rislyeu on Stepper, the two encounters we're going to get that we want to hopefully see him in is a single ghost and a single bomb. Both these runners should be both seeing these same encounters.
Yeah, Riz does not get Gao at all on his first attempt. Let's see if he gets it on the second attempt. Kid does not get him on this first attempt either. And Riz has gotten Gao. We're about to enter like a minute-long cutscene, which we don't have to press A for. We just hold it, and basically Gao goes on about something, and other stuff as well. And not Riz, Kid has gotten Gao as well in the same encounter.
Yeah, so this is really good. We've got a real race coming up here, guys. Yeah, so Gao talks about this shiny thing that he's got hiding his treasure.
I think it can be that shiny, can it?
Oh, I think this is that shiny.
It must be something of Edgar's then. It must be that shiny. Maybe it's one of his new tools.
And we tell him that there's a place where Gao can actually buy his own food here as well, so he doesn't have to starve because of us.
No starving for the survivor on the Veldt.
Alright guys, I want to see all your Kappas in Twitch chat right now. Because we got Kappa here, teaching us how to use all of Gao's abilities.
But not just one Kappa, but two Kappas. For the price of one. Saint Kappas.
So now they're not going to have another encounter until they hit the Serpent Trench. We might see some safety saves in front of the Serpent Trench. Just because the Serpent Trench can go very bad very quickly.
The shiny thing is a helmet. That's not any helmet, a diving helmet. But the question is, how can three men, well, 2 men and a teenage boy, use this helmet together without drowning? Well, we never find out.
It's video game logic. There's more than one helmet. We just can't see them.
That's very true. So we're about to jump into this fast-moving current. And things can go, as Riku said, very, very wrong on this trip.
Yeah, so this might actually switch the lead. It might actually keep the lead exactly the same. We'll have to see as we go along through this.
Riz with a preemptive, very, very nice. Let's see how Kid does with his first counter.
Yeah, so they should see about 4 encounters down this river. And we're going to want to take specific directions. The first way we're going to want to go is the right. And we're going to go into this cave, and we're just going to walk through the cave, no problem. As we can see, these runaway bars can sometimes take a long time, so that could also change the lead as well, just how well Cyan and Sabin decide they want to run away in these encounters.
I do believe the Gear form has a difficult to run flag on it.
But there's some RNG based off the running as well, so... Alright, so we see them both go through their cave now. It's very close.
And Riz with the side attack, which is beneficial for him, so he is getting out of there quickly.
Yeah, Riz got really lucky with his a preemptive and also a side preemptive as well.
Now, since we're in Nakia here, we are going to do a little shopping. We want to buy some smoke bombs for our trip down with Locke in his scenario. We are also selling this black belt so we can grab an extra mithril pike for Edgar at later down the road when we see him again. These 2 items are going to help us complete the run in a rather easy fashion.
One thing to know is Riz was pretty low on money there. He only bought 6 smoke bombs, so...
He actually bought more after he sold the belt.
Oh, he bought more after he sold the belt? Okay.
Now we're entering into lock scenarios next here. And lock scenario is just gonna go by in a flash. Basically, the reason why Locke is set in the second position there and given all this stuff is because we're going to clip this guard down here, but we also want to make sure that if we get out of here and get into a pincer attack in the cave that has a gold bear in it, we want to make sure we're facing the gold bear so we minimize our damage from it. Because that thing can kill you in one shot if he gets lucky.
Yeah, if you're in the top row, he will actually, your back will be facing him, and he'll be able to one-shot you. But with you being in the second row, when you go into that pincer attack, he will actually just straight up, you'll be facing the bear, so he won't be able to hit you as hard.
Now this item we picked up is a Thunder Rod. This rod allows us to break it during a fight and bypass magical defense. The same concept was used in a previous title in this series and carried over to this one. Now here we are entering the tunnel armor. We're just going to not bother fighting. We're just going to use the rod and be done with it. Also, this mysterious voice seems to be coming from inside the tunnel armor. I don't know who it is yet. I guess we'll find out later.
Yeah, so we just power through with Thunder Rod, which will always deal more than enough damage to take out this enemy.
Kidofseph getting a back attack. Unfortunate. Now we're entering into our third and final scenario. Basically, during this river, we can get between 1 and 3 encounters, maybe more, depending on how things go down this river. We're just going to smoke bomb our way out, or run. Riz right there equipping the extra Mythril Pike, and tunnel armor is down on Kid's side.
Yeah, so Riz is definitely in the lead now. He's, by the look from the splits, he's just under 40 seconds ahead right now. But both of these runners are actually on PB pace, so
Now we're about to re-enter. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
When we reach Narshe, we're going to enter this beautiful cave that we saw Locke come out of earlier. That somehow Edgar knows about. Don't know how he knows about it, but we're going to travel through this cave and run all the way back to our starting location, where we're going to make this plan on how to stop Kefka.
Now we're entering this security checkpoint room. They want us to follow this light all the way around the room, taking the path all about, but we're not going to do that. We're going to follow it about halfway through, and then decide to take a detour and go up. We're not even going to try to press A to hit that, to tag the light. We're just going to hold A, and we'll automatically tag it. And so with that done, we are probably 4 encounters or so away from getting out of this cave.
Yeah, it's getting really close to the end of this cave, where we get the most excruciating cutscene in the entire run.
A cutscene that's roughly 3.5 minutes to 4 minutes, and it just goes on about basically stuff that we don't care about, but we have to listen to anyway. So yeah, have fun reading what you can.
Yeah, Kid is getting some really bad encounter luck throughout these areas. Alright, we have Riz entering that cutscene at 1:20:29. So I'll see when Kidofseph enters it so we can actually have an estimate on about how far apart these runners are right now.
And he entered the cutscene at 1:20:124. Looks like.
Yeah, so there's about 55 seconds between the runners now. So with that being said, we're going to just go through this cutscene where all three of the scenarios actually link up together, and this is what progresses basically into the main part of the main section of the game, is this final battle against Kefka at Narshe here. Where this traitor Kutan has shown up, and Cyan doesn't like Kutan and finds out that Terra is also one of the old Imperial soldiers and is mad about that too, but then decides to forgive them all.
I don't think there's much of a choice in that, but it should be noted that because we don't grab a certain character in a certain normal way, the Kutan's data does not get overwritten, and we cannot change any of Kutan's equipment at this point. And Kutan's stats are as same as ever as before, so we can't do anything with that character at all.
Yeah, because in this game they used Moogles as placeholders, and that's why in Locke's scenario, or at the start of the game when Locke met with all those Moogles, every one of those Moogles in that parties that were sat there was 10 Moogles in total. And then there was Locke and Mog, which are two of the playable characters. So everyone else needed to be initiated in order to have them show up as not Moogle characters.
The only character outside those the three that we mentioned, Umro does not get a placeholder character either.
Wow, Riz playing this pretty risky. If he has a nice 2 on Kefka here, it wipes his party. This could go badly for him.
Yeah, indeed. He's taking a risk, but it can reward him pretty well.
Yeah, it just depends on what happens here. So yeah, we have another scenario like we did at the start of the game with Locke and the Moogles, where we just have to walk down and get to Kefka rather than Marshall this time. You skip getting Celeste by actually clipping through the guard in Locke's scenario. Now we have a safety save here from Kidofseph.
We just have to bypass the rider and we're done. Oh, it looks like he kept... Oh yeah, he got rider.
You got rider. This could even up the race, guys.
A rider normally is a 30-second time loss or so, I've been told. There is a certain move that rider can do that can instantly wipe one character. And he's not done it. Just did our polarity.
Alright, we're through the rider. And here we go, into Kefka.
Now, in this fight, we want to do a bit of weight manipulating on Sabin's turns to make sure Kefka does not get a second turn way off the bat. This also makes it so his third turn is more unlikely, but it can still happen.
Yeah, basically we want to get Sabin's second turn before Kefka gets his first one, which we got successfully here, so...
Ooh, poison, and Edgar's down.
I think he's dealt enough damage to Kefka that he'll be okay.
He gets the bolt, which is actually pretty nice.
Look at this, we're in Kefka fights simultaneously here, but it looks like Riz is snuck away with our win here. Alright, so Riz finished with an official SRL time of 1:26:38, so GG to Riz on that run, and we've got another run about to finish up here. Alright, we have Kidofseph finishing with an official SRL time of 1:27:12. So GG to both of these runners. That was a great race. So yeah, guys, be sure to follow these amazing runners for this